Good evening, friends. We now try to start a separate chapter, which is hydraulics of open channel. Actually, the water is supplied for majority of this surface irrigation is through open channel. Therefore, we have to deal these hydraulics to some extent, though it is dealt earlier in your graduate studies also to some extent, but we recaptured the fundamental things, that is open channel flow. Okay, so let us go for our presentation. Here, normally in all the irrigations, majority of the irrigations, water is drawn from a dam or a well, any other source, and that has to flow to the plot and spread entire the plot. But much of the water stays, whatever the water you are utilizing for the plot, it stays and flows through the open channel. What is meant by a open channel and all? Let us. This is how I put it. Hydraulics of open channel irrigation. See, from irrigation distribution system for surface irrigation methods, they can be classified into two groups. One is surface channel and underground pipelines. The irrigation water is also conveyed through underground pipelines. Of course, surface channel is the majority one. These facilities for conveyance and control of irrigation water are different for each type. If you have a surface channel, you have right from the main canal or a head canal to the branch canals, then sub branches, and then field channels. Then in the case of underground irrigation or piped system, you will have a different thing. That also will cover later on. So field channels may be either unlined or lined. This is also there. Sometimes many of these field channels may be lined in order to control these losses. Now let us talk about the basic principles of this or design of open channels. An open channel is defined as a conduit in which water flows with a free water surface. So it is open to the atmospheric pressure. The water flows with a surface. There is a depth, there is a width. So all these things. So the water is flowing under atmospheric conditions, pressure conditions. So it comes under rivers, canals, uncovered fumes also are open channel flows. Whereas, of course, using pipes, drains, sewers, etc., when they are as open channels when flowing partially full. Even the so-called your drains or pipes, if it is simply flowing to half of its level, half of its capacity, it is also called something like partially full. It is also called open channel. So basically, a lot of flow is covered under this open channel heading. You can see the elements of open channel here. This is the ground surface, and then some excavation is made into the ground, and then a bund is formed. It has certain slopes, something like this. A bund is formed to prevent the overtapping. Basically, this T is the top width of the channel. From where to where? From here to here. That means one end of the bund, one beginning of the left bund to another beginning of the right bund. Similarly, T with small t. width of surface when water is at a depth D. Suppose you are not running this water to its brim. You have to leave some free board. So this is the depth of the water in the channel. So when water is occupied to a certain depth like this, whatever the thickness, width, this is the width of that width of the surface when water is at a certain depth. This may be varying, depth may be varying, and t may be also, small t may be also varying. So depth of flow in channel, D is already explained. Of course, a small d should be there here. D is also depth of the, D is simply depth of the flow in the channel. Then bottom width of the channel, this is the width of the bottom width of the channel. E, wetted sides of the channel. To whatever level the water is there, that wetted side, this side, and here, this is the bottom, and this side, left side, right side, and the bottom. Okay. Then wetted sides, this is called E, and E are called wetted sides, whereas called this is a bottom, but it is also wetted. Now angle between the sloping side and horizontal, what is that? Phi. This is the angle between sloping side and then horizontal. This we are calling later on as a angle of repose. So let us go further. Parameter definition. There are simple definitions for each and every parameter. For example, wetted perimeter, just now we have seen, wetted perimeter is the sum of the lengths of that part of channel, sides and bottom, which are in contact with water. That's what exactly, B plus C plus C. This is a wetted perimeter. This is B plus this one and this one. Should be E there. Okay, it's not C, it is E. Anyway, then this frictional resistance offered to the flow of water in channels depends upon the area of the surface passed over, which in turn is proportional to the wetted perimeter. So this wetted perimeter plays an important role, that it offers a resistance because the flow is touching this rough surface and then has to move forward. Therefore, this wetted perimeter plays a crucial role in advancing the flow. That since this offers a frictional resistance offered to the flow of water in channels depends upon this surface. Then we call, next definition is area of cross section. Cross sectional area A, small a, refers to the area of the wetted section of the channel. Area of the wetted section of channel. First of all, let us wetted section of the channel area, let us see. See, suppose this is the water level. This is the area of the wetted section of the channel. This is the area. This is the area of the wetted section of the channel. How it is calculated? Simply B plus T into D by 2. B plus T whole divided by into D whole divided by 2. B plus T into D whole divided by 2. That is what this area of cross section is calculated. Similarly, hydraulic radius. Hydraulic radius R is the ratio between the cross sectional area of the stream and its wetted perimeter. Just now we have seen the cross sectional area, the area of cross section, and also wetted perimeter. So it is simply, hydraulic radius is simply a ratio. What is that ratio? Ratio between the area of cross section and wetted perimeter. That is how the hydraulic radius is defined. The hydraulic radius is an important parameter in determining the velocity of water flow. Of course, later we will see the formula that is dependent on this in the channels. The velocity of flow in channels is directly proportional to the square root of the hydraulic radius. That's what. The velocity of flow in the channel is directly proportional to the square root of the hydraulic radius. The hydraulic radius decreases with the increase in wetted perimeter for a given cross-sectional area. Of course, it is obvious if you see this relation. This hydraulic radius is decreases with increase of the weighted perimeter. That is by relation itself. Then hydraulic slope. You can see hydraulic slope of a channel is the ratio of its vertical drop h for a length L of the channel. As the channel is passing through several kilometers, how much vertical drop h it will occur for a given length of the channel it is passing. So it is simply S is h by L. H is the vertical drop, L is the length it has passed, or it has lost the head due to its passing of this length. Then the velocity of flow in channels varies directly with the square root of the hydraulic slope. So it is also found that V is directly proportional to the square root of the hydraulic slope. This is also, so these two, one is a V is directly proportional to the square root of R, another one is V is directly proportional to the square root of the S. Later we are going to convert this into a formula. Then freeboard. You can see this freeboard. Freeboard is a vertical distance between the highest water level anticipated in the design and the top of the retaining banks. I think already we have explained earlier to some extent, but this is freeboard. Suppose water is occupied up to this level, but its banks are up to this level. So this free space that is left between this water surface and to the height of the bank, this is called freeboard. You can see this is defined, shown in arrow marks. This is called freeboard. Then facilities for the conveyance and control of the irrigation water are different. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it is provided to prevent. Why this freeboard? Why this gap is provided? It is provided to prevent overtopping of structures because of wave action or damage due to trampling or other unforeseen conditions. Because it is openly left in the field, anything can happen. That's why this much of freeboard is provided to prevent overtapping or damage to something, or even wave action. It may cause erosion and then so on and so forth. Okay. Then angle of repose. This is very important definition here. If a mass of loose dry soil is allowed to fall freely, when you are taking some mass of loose dry soil and allowing fall freely onto the ground, then the soil heap formed by it will have a conical shape. Normally when you are pouring some soil on the land, it takes a conical shape. The maximum angle of the sloping sides of the cone measured from the horizontal is called the angle of repose. Suppose this is the sloping side, then this is the horizontal. This angle will be the angle of repose. You can see here again in the figure. See, this is the this is the soil heap. Let us suppose soil heap like this, we can think, and this is the angle. This is the horizontal. So this angle is called angle of repose. So channel, the maximum angle of the sloping sides of the cone measured from the horizontal is called the angle of repose. Okay. Channel sides will be stable if its slope does not exceed the angle of repose of the soil in which it is made. So for example, you can again go back to this. Suppose this is the angle of repose. If it is exceeding, this is the angle. If it is exceeding, suppose the phi is this much, then these sides will not be stable. These sides of the channel will not be stable. It should be less than this angle of repose. You can put this way, this slope, but you cannot put like this, like this. It will, these sides will fall down. So that is the principle. Then channel sides will be stable if its slope does not exceed. Clay soils have steeper angle naturally of repose, while in sandy soils they are flatter. Because sandy soils are loose, they are flatter angle of repose. Clay soils will have maximum